to prop up my phone without it falling over because of the cord on the bottom of it.
Oh, gotcha. I just started a stream on Facebook and give them a chance as well. Hello, Facebook world and YouTube and you guys.
Everyone else, as we get technical difficulties, right? Give me 1 second. I think I got something I can use real quick.
Okay. Guys, getting ready to do a live enlightened conversation here with soul mentor Hillis Pugh. Excited to share some good vibes with you guys today. Hope your week is going well thus far. Definitely, this is an episode that you'll want to share. This stream will be available for 24 hours, and then it will be permanently inside of the Universal Abundance community, and then it will be on iTunes, Spotify in a few weeks. We're going to go live on Instagram as well. If you guys want to ask questions, either join us on Instagram, The Angel of Abundance, or join us on Zoom. Would you guys see the link right there? Share this.
Oh, I think I got it all sorted out now.
Perfect.
To where is this going to work? And put it at high level. Oh, just getting out of the stand.
Oh, you're perfect.
Alright.
Alright, so.
And I'm ready whenever you are.
Okay. I just went live on Instagram, so you can see me over there.
Yep.
Hey guys, getting ready to do a live enlightened conversation here with Hillis Pugh, soul mentor. There we go. All right. You know how to request to join on mine?
Yep.
Perfect. All right. There we go. All right, so now I'm going to mute my computer sound, so I only hear you out of my phone.
Yep, and my laptop is muted, and so now you're getting like a side angle of me.
We'll do it on the. Well, you decide what angle you want to talk to me on. I can talk to you either way.
Yeah, I can talk. Yeah, of course, this way.
Perfect. Yeah, I'll join you here, and then I'm going to pin that. Hit record on Zoom, and we are good to go. We have technology going everywhere. I always say the universe wants these conversations out in the world, so technology always works out perfectly.
Yes, it does. Always.
All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Enlightened Conversations. Excited for today, and this will be a great conversation, one that I know will impact you, the listener, and encourage you if you're on here with us live, ask questions, and you can either join us on Instagram or join us on Zoom. You guys see the link there. But we have soul mentor and energy facilitator and Lemurian light worker Hillis Pugh, who is here in the Florida area. He's on the other side of Florida. Florida's a very big state. He's on the other side of Florida from where I am here in the United States. And just excited to talk with him today and just flow some good vibes with all of you guys. So without further ado, I want to introduce you guys to Hillis. And you can share with the audience so they're more familiar with you, who you are, what you do, and why you do it, and all these good things.
Awesome, yes. And thank you, Noel, for having me on Enlightened Conversations today. It's an honor and pleasure, first and foremost. And a little bit about me. And as I was preparing for today, I took a moment and thought about it. Today is actually Thursday. And this is the day that I started my journey on this work because I started out writing a blog about a little over 10 years ago called Thank You Thursday. And my journey began on Thanksgiving, which is Thursday. And so, this day has a special meaning for me because it's the day of my journey. So every week is a special day for me to celebrate. And so with me being, a soul mentor, assisting people to find the better version of themselves through gratitude and through the law of vibration. And with me being an energy facilitator, I utilize the Lemurian light work energy that I do, that I facilitate to help people, guide them on the nourishment that their soul is asking for. Because people often want to be better, want to feel better, and it's what I love to do is to help people get into that better feeling space. And it's just what I love to do. It brings me so much joy to see people on their journeys and the beautiful unfoldings that are taking place in their personal lives.
I love it. And I love that you gave yourself just another reason to be grateful. Thankful Thursday. That's awesome. We all should adopt that practice. And I've been speaking a lot about gratitude lately, and I'm happy that the conversation is starting there. Because for all of us, like we've heard terms like count our blessings, and it could be a little bit cliche and not even understanding what happens when we are grateful for anything, and we could really be grateful for everything, even some of the experiences in our life that may have been challenging, because without those we wouldn't have the clarity and be who we are right now. We wouldn't be as aware as we are and be going in the direction that we're going. And so there's so many beautiful elements to gratitude that I knew a big part of my life I wasn't aware of. So I'm happy that the conversation is starting there. I'll hit on a few more things and ask you some more things about gratitude in a second as far as the power of it. But I'm curious, Hillis, because we all come here, and you know this, as unconditional loving little babies. And I'm always curious what takes someone, because for most of us, we forget along the way who we truly are, when we're kids and go into being adults. And it's always I share the same joy that you just expressed, as far as when I see someone that has the light bulb come back on and they remember who they truly are and they're on this journey. Not that any of us have it all figured out. That's not necessary. However, we know that it's a constant unfolding that'll be throughout this entire lifetime. How did your journey go as far as going from unconditional loving little baby to where we see you now? Was there any forgetting of who you truly are, or did you just remember all the way through in this life experience?
Well, that's honestly a trick question because, I have had visions of this whole human experience and how we get here in a physical form and how we go back into non-physical form. And there is this vision of how we come to be on this planet and how we are birthed into this space of unconditional love that I'm just going to share with everyone briefly. And so as the process goes, we are the pure positive energy, and what I would call or better visualization in human terms, what you would describe as one of those chain link fence. And in every intersection there's a pod, and in every pod there's energy. And that energy then allows for us to really begin the process. And then as we are ready to emerge from this pod, almost like a cocoon, if you will, we are then greeted by our midwives who guide us and take us through this process to become mature souls. And then once we are ready to incarnate on the planet, we go through this life selection process where we see multiple choice, A, B, C, or D, and we get a glimpse of each one. And so this is why when we choose whatever life we choose, we experience deja vu. And so when we are finally here in the physical world, we choose to forget everything. We choose to forget it because we are, how else are we going to learn? And how else are we going to grow and evolve if we know everything already? So that's the place we simply allow for ourselves to be in the place of pure expansion is to forget. And then on this journey to remember, we then, go through whatever experiences we have with our friends, with our family, with those who we signed contracts with. And so then they help us to come to a place of remember who we are. And then once we get into a place of remembering who we are, we expand and share this expansion of wisdom and knowledge with other people.
I love that. I love that you just highlighted what you did as far as how, because I always share with people, and some people are ready to hear this, some people aren't. However, I just, when I'm inspired to share, I like to share that, when we choose this life experience, this incarnation, and the physical avatars that we've chosen, mine's called Noel, yours is called Hillis, yours is called whatever yours is out there. We've chosen to come here and experience life as this avatar with whatever unique maybe challenges that we may have, maybe, mentally or physically, and all that was a part of us being able to come here and evolve because of the life experiences that maybe those challenges, the parents that we chose, where we were born, all these things. And I love that you just highlighted that. And it's so interesting how you described, us being able to see, a glimpse of it and then experiencing deja vu as a result. That's awesome. I love how you just described that. And not everybody is ready to hear that. I never say, because for me, once I became aware of that, Hillis, that gave me a lot of peace to be able to have compassion for anybody that might be experiencing life in a challenging way. And at the same time, deep down, I know that there's a really great possibility that I experience life in this way, whether it was in this life experience as Noel or in another one. I probably have experienced something similar in my soul's journey. So I love that you just highlighted that. What does that give you? Like, I'm sure that gives you, because I don't judge people that are experiencing life in a way where it's like, oh, why are they choosing that? Because deep down, I know that there's probably been a time where I've chosen that as well. And it's just, another life experience, and it's causing evolution, even if it's painful evolution for them and for us to maybe witness.
Yeah, and you have to remember, too, that when we are going on this journey, when we have set this path, this space to really allow for us to remember and go on this space of expansion, the path of the selective amnesia is not easy, because we are fighting for us to remember, fighting for peace, fighting for comfort, fighting for unconditional love. And in hindsight, the experience that we've had only allows for the greater awareness and expansion of self. It may have been a challenging one, but you then too have to understand that the challenges that you are experiencing are also ones that you have asked for on some level or degree. For example, my life in particular, I know that in previous life incarnations, I was a Hollywood actor, I was royalty, I was all these things. And so then I am here in this life where I don't have all the riches that I'm used to. So when I feel that on the energetic level, there sometimes I think, I feel like I am a prince in a pauper's body. And I've had my psychic friends confirm this for me, and they were like, yes, you were this, and this in previous lives. I'm like, okay, so what's the lesson here? And so as I go through this, it's really a beautiful way to experience life in a different way, and to really understand that we are multi-dimensional beings ever expanding.
Absolutely. You said something right there it's so important it's a great reminder for all of us as far as what's the lesson here. And it doesn't even have to be like large scale, like what's the lesson of like my entire like existence here as this incarnation, as this present version of me. It could even be things like what I noticed in my life, and I didn't always pay attention to this. Even if I think something is going to happen today, whether it be an appointment or meeting someone that I'm excited to meet or whatever it is, and something changes where that doesn't happen, like maybe someone has to cancel or, just unexpected things to where that doesn't actually go forward. I'm even asking now, like, what am I needing to see? Like, what's the universe showing me? Like, what else is at play here behind the scenes that's going to allow not that life experience, because that life experience isn't going to happen right now. There's another life experience that's going to take its place as a result. What's coming here? What do I need to see? And even if it's just, all right, Noel, you need to get a little bit of rest and not go out and do these things. I'm still curious, and so that doesn't have to be. I don't have to be so disappointed with like, oh, like now I don't get to go do this or meet this person or whatever it is. Like that is, to me, I enjoy living life, asking questions like Hillis just described. Like, what do I need to see here? Like, what's the lesson in this? Like, what's going on? And I ask that frequently. Whenever anything is going on, even awesome things that are happening, I'm like, what's going on here? And I get really curious and keep my attention there, and a lot of times see additional really cool synchronicities show up as a result.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of it, because when we allow for our curiosity to really take hold, it was really that childlike wonderment that really brings that level of excitement, that level of joy that we all wish to experience. And it is in the transition from adolescence into adulthood that really allows for the mindset to change and to be altered. I'm a grown man. I still watch cartoons like every week, like every weekend. So it's like, still maintaining that innocence is pivotal, especially, when you're in this, now what you have to do in society as an have to, have a living, have to earn a living, have to do this, have to do that. All these must do's and must have, they take precedent and priority, and we forget about the curiosity and wonderment that we maintain, that we're supposed to have as spiritual beings, and that is in itself, what do I do? Where do I go? And then we get lost, and then we get confused, and then we seek out people like myself to say, hey, can you help me? I'm lost. I feel like I'm not together. Can you help bring me back together? And I'm like, yeah, I'm all for it.
Absolutely. And you'll hear words like fun and play and these type of things come out of my mouth more than any other words, because that's my focus, not just because, all of us like to have fun. All of us like to smile, laugh, and joke. Like, that's innately who all of us truly are. Like, when we're in those energies, like, we're being who we truly are. We're connected with God, universe, love, all that is, spirit, source, whatever you resonate with out there, nature. And so I always like to notice what happens when I'm having fun, or when I'm laughing and joking, when I'm connected, like the types of thoughts. And I'm always paying attention, Hillis, to the synchronicities of life. And if we notice, we can't predict any of this stuff that's going on, like anything in our lives, like we never have been able to. That's why it's called synchronicity. Some people want to call it coincidence, but there really are none of those. Like, it's all happening, and it's all really reflecting from, what is my present moment state of being. And that's reflecting out what the synchronicities to come will be. And so I love knowing that when I'm having fun and when I'm playful and I'm just enjoying life, and I'm so like a little kid, like I'm always like, I'll be outside and then I'll see something that catches my attention. It could be a bird, it could be a tree, it could be anything. Like today they were cutting like the coconuts down from the tree. I'm like, look at the coconuts. Like, I'm just sitting on the ground. Like, do I want to go get a coconut before I go to the gym? Or like, so yeah. So it just, but I noticed like the synchronicities that come as a result, whether it be great ideas. Those are synchronicities that a lot of times we don't think about being synchronicities, but definitely are. Whether it be meeting people or anything that spurs in our life that we're enjoying, or there are also synchronicities that we don't enjoy so much. And again, we can ask ourselves, like, what's going on here? What's at play? How's my vibration been leading up to this synchronicity? These are questions that I also am willing to ask myself, putting all the power back on me as far as how am I being, what's my present moment state of being. So I wasn't always like this, but is what I pay attention to most now. And I love that you mentioned that, because cartoons, everything. If you're doing anything out there that you're laughing and enjoying, do more of that. That's my advice.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to challenge your thinking here a little bit. And I appreciate that you say the word synchronicities, because that's what happens. That's the end result of it. And so the part that I'm going to challenge is, what are you attracting in your vibrational energy, in your vibrational field? Because there's one of the things that I teach is the law of vibration. The third of the seven spiritual laws. It teaches everything is energy. Everything from thoughts to all physical cells to inanimate objects, it's all energy. And it's just the weather of how fast they're vibrating they come into our awareness, meaning that, the chair that you're sitting on is made of pure positive energy, but it's vibrating so slow that we can feel the density and gravity of it. As opposed to our thoughts, they move so quickly. We have thousands of thoughts per day, but the ones that we pay attention to are the ones that we vibrate with the most, and those are the ones that we attract. And so, which brings us those synchronicities of which you talk about.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm fully aware, Hillis. Every time anything happens, thing that physically manifests, I'm always paying attention to what's my vibe leading up to it. This is a reason, and I'll share with you guys out there, because a lot of people have been fearful about sickness and illness in 2020. And I'm not saying this because I'm like some special breed of human that doesn't get sick, but I don't get sick because I pay so much attention to my present moment vibration and energy that even over the past 8 years, if I even start to sense a symptom, whether it be a headache or nose running or sore throat, anything, even if I start to sense that, I always ask Noel, what's been your vibration leading up to this symptom? And every single time, 100 out of 100 times, it's been, I could vibrate a little bit higher. I've maybe been anxious about something, maybe been stressed or worried about something. I appreciate the awareness of the symptom, and then I return back to being who I truly am in that moment and the moments to follow. And if I need to get rest that day, I'll get rest. If I need to drink water, all the things we know how to do, I do it. But I'm already telling myself, my body, moment by moment, is now being who it truly is, which is well-being, which is wellness. And by the time I wake up, I'm 100% times 10. Like, I feel great. And this has been my experience for many years now, just because of that awareness. So I definitely pay attention. That's the only thing I pay attention to. What's my vibration and energy in this moment, which all that truly exists for us. So I love that you pointed that out, because when we don't know that, then we're more at a lot of times we're responding to what we already see physically manifested. And unfortunately, that's what's controlling because where we put our attention is what is going to determine, what our energy is vibrating. If we're paying attention to something on the news and we're like, oh, that's terrible, that's terrible, that's terrible. Well, what's my vibration going to be in this moment? It's not going to be happy and joyful and like blissful. It's going to be a match to that focus. And so, unfortunately, that's going to continue to reflect out, whether it be physical illness or, just, it's not going to reflect any synchronicities that we enjoy. That's for sure. So.
Exactly. And I'm glad that you talked about that, because that's, right now is, what's happening on the news, what's happening in the mainstream media, and how it really kind of dictates someone's behaviors and their vibration. Because if you keep focusing on that one thing, that it's eventually going to manifest in your life one way or another. If you keep watching the news about this one particular thing, I'm not naming anything, but it could be anything, especially now with current events, and you keep your attention on that, then of course you're going to bring it to you in your field and how you resonate with it. And so that is key, is the level of awareness in which we give and we present to ourselves, because the awareness that we have is the ignition, the engine, if you will, that brings forth everything that you want.
Absolutely, absolutely. I always love what you just described just now, Hillis, is you just described basically how to physically manifest. And a lot of people, and again, a decade and a half ago, I wasn't aware at all of any of this stuff. But I love knowing that the same process of physical manifestation exists for us all. And it starts with, present moment vibration. You give your attention, like Hillis was just describing, to something so much to where now it's in your field, to where you're giving energy and attention to that, which you're creating more energy of that. And now what do we expect is going to physically manifest in our life? It's the same thing. Hillis mentioned the chair that I'm sitting in. At some point, chairs didn't exist on Earth. And a human was like, it'd be great to be able to sit down in something that's not the big rock over here. Like, I want my family to be able to sit over here. And so they said, okay, let me put attention and energy on the creation of chair. And now we have different variations of chairs and everything else that we see physically manifested. So that's the events that are happening in our lives as well. We don't think about us having that much power, but we really do. And so I caution people because a lot of times when people are paying attention to something, and a lot, Hillis, this, they start telling stories about it. They start speaking about it, and they speak it into existence. Like, this is the way that this is, or this is always happening, or pay attention to that, because if you're speaking the words, now your words are just a reflection of what's been going on in your thoughts, just reflections. And your thoughts are just reflections of what's been going on in your vibration. So what do we think is going to happen if we continue putting in energy on something? Same way the chair has been manifested, everything else that you're telling stories about will manifest as well in its time. So
Exactly. And just to break it down for you and for everyone watching, that, I teach this in my seminars, and there's an easy formula that anyone can follow to guide their path of creating, the path of manifesting. And so, and I'm going to break it down section by section after I give you the formula. So you have your thoughts, plus your emotions, plus your words, written or spoken, equals the manifestation. And so you have your thoughts, which are neutral. They're pure positive energy, neutral thoughts. And then you have the emotional content, meaning any previous experience that is connected to that thought. For example, you have, as a kid, you are told not to touch a hot stove, but you touch a hot stove anyway. But you want to see for yourself what it is. And so now you have this thought, oh, if I touch anything, it's hot, I'm going to get burned. That's the energetic content, or similar like that is connected to the thought. And then you have the words such as ow, or this hurts, or I burned myself, anything like that. Whether it's even an affirmation, that is to assist in the solidification of the manifestation. So also the manifestation part is the physical action. You take an action. And just to break it down even simpler, so you have a car, and the thought of the car is the gas. But the gas can't do anything. The car can't go anywhere. And so until you put yourself in the car, in the driver's seat, you turn on the ignition. And so the ignition is then this thought that's fueling the gas, allowing the gas to flow to the engine. And so then you put your foot on the gas and give the gas, shift the car to drive, and you're just going. And so then from that point forward, you've taken the physical action from thought to the energy, which is the emotions, to the physical manifestation, which is the words written and spoken, to put everything into action. So it's really this almost blink of an eye, almost knee-jerk response. If you are practicing, or if you're not aware of it, it's just almost like second nature when we don't give thought to it. But when you actually give thought to every single process, give intentional thought, then you become the master of the thought. You become more in control of what you wish to create by shifting the intention and awareness to what you want. Because as I also teach, the Andean culture way back in the day, they had a word for this, a Quechua word called ani. And this word meant the exchange of energy, the reciprocity. So when you offer your thanks, when you offer your gratitude, the universe sees this and hears this, and it brings you more of the same.
I love that. You guys, if you space on anything that Hillis just said, rewind and listen to that again, because it's so important. It gives me so much peace to understand how this process of manifestation works, so that then I could do what Hillis said right at the very end, which is, and I've been talking about this so much, like I talked about it today when I was running to the gym briefly. I talk about it every week when I do the affirmation to start the week, and I'm saying, okay, we have this intention that Hillis just described. Now I'm going to release how it's going to happen, when it's going to happen, who it's going to be, what it's going to look, all the details, not my work. Like, that's going to come synchronistically. I'm going to take it a step further, though, and I'm going to be grateful for it before I see any evidence of anything. And that's what Hillis was just describing. And I wasn't a big, science, in school or anything, but I'm also curious to see. I like to know what's going on. So in physics, every action has an equal and opposite reaction. So what happens when we're grateful for something before seeing any evidence of it? So we're grateful to the universe before we see any of it coming into our lives. Well, every action of gratitude has an equal and opposite reaction. So if I'm already grateful for the things that I desire in life, I release how it's going to happen. The equal and opposite reaction are going to be those things as I'm going and living my life. So it's beautiful to be aware of this. And then you mentioned this also, then it's a practice. Because if any of this stuff that you hear in this conversation matters to you, obviously you go deeper and become aware of so many more things. It's up to you if you want to actually practice it to where now you actually are manifesting on purpose, like you're consciously, aware of your energy, and you get to go out there and create the life that you want, at that point.
Exactly, and just to offer a tip for everyone who's watching to make it a little bit easier and more simple for you is that you can do one or two things that I did in the beginning, which was my practice. I don't do it as much now because it just becomes second nature. So one of the things that I started doing was what I call a thank you rampage. And so what I would do, you can do it at any time of the day, just a few seconds or longer if you want, if you're in the shower or whatever, and you can start saying things that you're grateful for. For example, I'm happy and grateful that I have a roof over my head. I'm happy and grateful that I have money to pay my bills. I'm happy and grateful for this technology that I'm able to deliver this information for you. I'm happy and grateful to have this time and peace and quiet to give and receive this infinite wisdom and knowledge to share with other people. And it goes on and on and on. And so you could just sit in that space, and what that does is it releases any resistance because you're just in the flow of what is there for you. You're in the flow to give and receive, this exchange of energy between you and the universe. This is your personal time and space to allow for this to happen. And then two, if that isn't, where you're at, if you want something that's a little bit more concrete, then what you can do is you can start off with affirmations such as, I am happy and grateful for house, and just write it down in a journal. Just have an affirmation journal, or even in your phone, in the notes section, and just start off saying, I'm happy and grateful for that. And the reason why I say I am happy and grateful is that I am are the two most powerful words. So anything that follows that gives life to it. You say I am, and then happy for what? And then you're grateful, expressing this exchange of energy. So every word has a particular place and meaning behind it. It's just not words thrown together, but everything has an intention and power with it.
I love that. I highly recommend you guys doing what Hillis is describing. I've been finding myself lately, Hillis, maybe only for the past, maybe 2 months. One day I was playing some music. A lot of times, so I meditate in the morning. A lot of times I'll play music afterwards, as loud as I can get away with. I don't have too many neighbors around, but I like to play as loud as I can get away with without it just being obnoxious. But I've added to that in the last few months where I'm just expressing gratitude out loud, where it just comes out like thank you, and it's like I'm like pretty much yelling it, but it's on top of the music, but I feel like the energy like flowing up, like I feel my frequency raising, like what Hillis was just describing when he was going on that gratitude rampage. Which we have scientific devices in 2020 now to where we can measure energy frequency in the moment. I've seen it now coming from my heart. I've seen it from my brain, and so I've seen energy measured. But your frequency will be rising the entire time that you're doing that. Like Hillis was, even though he was giving the example, his frequency was rising the entire time that he was giving the example. So it's just great practice for us to do any time that we just want to like bump our frequency up, and again, release resistance. Like same thing, that's just a synonym. If you release resistance, your frequency is going to rise for sure. And that's really the most important thing, is to release the resistance, because if we're not releasing the resistance and we're focusing on something that is making us feel worse and worse and worse, there's no limit to how crap we can feel in this moment either, which is just great to be aware of. Like there's no limit to how great we can feel, and there's also no limit to how crappy we can feel either. So just great to be aware which direction is the energy flowing, because it's not just staying still. Like none of us are just like energy just stagnant during the day. Doesn't work that way.
No. And just another quick tip, for people that want to do the thank you rampage, is to be general about what you want. You start off very general, because when you start off in a very general place, then you allow for the resistance to fall. Then you can get more specific about what it is that you will create. Because if you start off specific, then there's going to be like this resistance and this level of disbelief that you can't have or obtain whatever it is that you want, as opposed to you starting off in the basement and just allowing their energy to rise and to follow and flow with you.
Great point. That's like basically when people like are doing their first affirmation that they ever wrote down, and they say, I am a trillionaire. It's like, no, you're not.
I believe that. Do I really believe that? Not quite. But, if you go down the path, then of course you can get to the frequency to obtain that.
Absolutely. So I'm going to ask you a question, because we just flow back and forth all day. And this is normally how these conversations go, which I love. Right now with your work and what you're doing as a soul mentor and energy facilitator, what have you been noticing that, as far as the clients that you're working with, maybe in 2020 or maybe in the last, 12 to 18 months, that you've been noticing you guiding people frequently towards? Like, are people coming to you with, they already know that who they truly are and they just want to like really fine tune it? Or as a lot of times they're coming to you because they know that maybe you have some consciousness that they haven't had the light bulb come on again yet, and now you're like awakening them and then taking them through? What does it normally look like when you have people coming to you, or is it all over the place?
Well, it's a little bit all over the place, but the majority of the people, especially lately, are in a place of stuck. They understand, know where they are. For example, I have a client now who is on the path of being a shaman, or is a shaman, or can serve particular medicines. And anytime when I work with this particular individual, after we do the work, the energy moves through so quickly, and it's like almost instantaneously the results. Like, we do work one day, and then the next day she's like, well, just to give you an update, because I usually check in with people the day after I do a session. It's like, well, this happened, and that happened. I'm like, oh my goodness, okay. And so I'm noticing that, so with each client, everyone is different. And so then there are those who are, especially ones who are sexual abuse survivors. I've been getting quite a few of those lately, and I feel that that time now of that particular trauma, people want that to be released. And so with them, it's a little bit longer with the process, because there's also like this place of grieving that they have to go through. And then there are those people who think, well, I thought I was through this, and that's very common. When they get to me, they're like, oh, well, why is that coming up? I'm like, I thought I worked on this. It's like, we have been, but there was another layer that needed to be uncovered. And so as I work with people, I typically suggest, minimum of 3 sessions of them working with me, because I get to work with them in their childhood, the adolescence, and the adult phases. And so each phase holds a different type of energy. And so as I move through with them through this energy, because I'm not doing the healing, I'm only facilitating the energy and the work that they're asking for. It's their soul and their guides, those that they are connected to at this energetic space that I create, that I facilitate for them. It is them that is doing this work. It is them that has the courage to do this. I just facilitate use of light language and particular energies, and whether it be white light, gold light, fifth dimension, multi-dimensional spaces, it is really them and what level they're ready to allow for the releasing and transformation that they want now.
I love it. I'm gonna highly recommend people out there that are listening to this. If you notice, this is how I would highly suggest you connecting with Hillis, because basically any trauma that we have or anything that we're holding on to happened either in childhood, adolescence, or adulthood for all of us. Like those are the areas of our life. And so I highly recommend, if you're noticing yourself out there and you keep like energy, because we have 70,000 thoughts per day on average. And if you keep noticing those, like you can't put your finger on it, but your energy is just off, however you want it, like on a continuous basis. Like this is almost like it's a habit. Something just keeps coming up, and you haven't specifically like pinpointed like what that is. This is what Hillis is describing, at least a part of it. Because I know for me, Hillis, like I didn't know that I was so critical of myself and because I had this path when I was a kid, and I thought I was going to be a professional athlete. And then when I was 21, that was basically ripped away from me because I had an injury. And then in the next 2 years, which were very depressing years for me, I realized that this dream that I had, or not even a dream to me, really it was already reality. It was just I was waiting to get old enough to go play. That's how I looked at it. And I realized like I was so critical and hard on myself for so many different things, for lots of different reasons, and I had to like become really consciously aware of that if I wanted to be able to be consistent with my energy, how we've been describing in this conversation. So that took, and I did all this conscious awareness work on my own in my early 20s, which probably extended it out like 6 years, and it could have probably been done much quicker, but I didn't know any of this stuff existed. So I highly recommend if you're noticing that and things that are constantly coming up for you, whatever they might be, connect with Hillis, because whether it be in childhood, early adolescence, or adulthood, you get that figured out, and you get to become aware of that, and you start paying attention to your right now energy, which that's what that's affecting. Then you get to actually go out there, and life just becomes this fun adventure, like we've been describing, and that's how I feel about life. Is just what's next? Who's going to come into my path next? Me and Hillis didn't even know each other existed 3 weeks ago, and the synchronicity on how we even met was I actually invited Hillis to do this conversation, not even realizing that I had actually already met him through text and mailed him. I actually had communication through another mutual friend, but we didn't even realize it. And I had invited him, and I was like, "Wait a minute, Hillis, this sounds familiar," because Hillis is not the most common name. So yeah, highly recommend you guys connect with us.
I love it. Thank you. Just to take this conversation just a little bit deeper. And so the way that time-space reality works, and the reason why I'm able to do the work that I do on such multiple level, is that as humans, we have this concept of linear thinking and of linear time, that everything is always moving forward, right? That's completely wrong. And so, on who's watching and listening, just imagine you have one of those Chinese fans, right? The ones that fold open. I wish I had one, but the ones that just fold open. Mm-hmm. And so everything is moving in one direction because it only opens one way and it closes one way. But however, you notice there's all the folds in the fans, and so those are like markers of your life. So think of it being open. Every fold is a marker. So then you close the fan, and everything is stacked on top of each other. Your whole life in one tense, one space, one time. And that's how life is presently. So at any given moment, we can access these levels of consciousness of our childhood, of our adulthood, of our adolescence. We can access these life markers. And so that's why we are sometimes in these repetitive cycles. That's why sometimes we are in the space that we're in, because everything's happening at once. And so with everything happening at once, this is why we feel that we are stuck, because of, boom, everything's right on top of each other, as opposed to fanned out, linear. So that's part of why I'm able to guide people, my clients, into this new space of understanding, because it's not happening then, it's happening now.
I love that. That's a great description with the fan and everything happening now, for sure. Because even when we're accessing those past, traumas, past events, like we're accessing it right now. And if we're thinking about the future, we're accessing that right now. When we get to the future, we'll be still in the now, experiencing, that future time. So I love that. That's a really, really great reminder for all of us. And I like the fan analogy that came off crystal clear. I love it so much. I want to ask you something, Hillis, and I love asking anyone this, because we're speaking right now at the time of this August 2020, and if I ask you this question, August 2021, you'll have another year of life experience where this answer will evolve, and it's just about like your vision for what it is that you're creating and what you would like to see in humanity. While you're here as Hillis with all this awareness, and obviously you brought lots of awesome, soul evolution with you into this physical incarnation as Hillis. So you're doing great work and helping people remember who they truly are. What is it that you envision as far as whether your life and your work and for humanity? I'm always curious to know this.
This is one, a great question, and two, it's always a question that's always evolving because, honestly, if I was to look back and reflect upon my life, I would think that in my mind, I would have been married at 20, had kids, living the typical American life, but, and that's through the perception of the society. This is what we will learn. This is what life should be like. And as I got older, with each step, there was a point in my life I wanted to be a best-selling author and have this best-selling book and to be this world-renowned, speaker and author and do all these things. And now, I just want people to find themselves and to really understand that they are more than what they seem. They are more than what they personally perceive. And the way for me to do that is to share this information through my writings, through my teachings, through the clients that I have, through just me being of service. And, a great example of this was, for those that know me personally and that are watching this, know that I partake in plant medicine. And there was one particular weekend, ceremony weekend, and I just felt the urge. And for a long time, I said, I want to be of service. How can I be more of service? What is this going to look like for me in this ceremonial sacred space? And so the shaman's wife approached me and said, and it was so funny how it happened too, because when she approached me, she said, Hillis, can I ask something of you? She's like, I said, sure, what is it? And I said, actually, the exact words were, how can I be of service to you? And she said, that's exactly it. It's like that. It's like, oh, okay, so what can I do? And since then, I've been of service to the shaman in sacred ceremonies when I'm available to be of assistance to him, which is another dimensional layer to the work that I do, to be a guide on this level. So just me being of service and sharing what I have has been enough. And just really to understand that space and to be of that space is brilliant, loving, unconditional. Just where I'm at right now.
I love it. I love how you answered that. Very present moment answer versus like I'll be doing this or creating this. Like it's just I love how you answer that because you answer that in a way where like you're already doing it and you're already on the path, and your example and the people that are attracted to you for you to be able to help remind them of who they truly are as well. I shared that joy that you just expressed so much because anytime I meet someone or can help someone return to being aware of who they truly are, I'm so curious to now see how they're going to experience life, choose to experience life, what example they're going to set, like what they're going to create, like what, because once you know that you can create anything that your desire points towards you because of your life experience, like I want to see this in my life, I want to see this in the world, or whatever it is, and you know who you truly are, then it's just a matter of getting back to what we've been talking about the whole time. It's just being in the present moment and enjoying, whatever it is that you're doing here and now. And all of those things that you want to create will happen as a result of your present moment, attention, awareness, energy, and, actions that you're taking here and now. And just beautiful to know that. I want for everybody, as long as I'm here, I'll continue to be an example of that, because that's the best way any of us can help someone remember who we truly are, is by being it, be the light, so that others can recognize their light in you, because we're just reflections, all of us. So I love how you answered that. That's beautiful, and I'm happy now that we're on the journey and on the path together. And I didn't know that about you as far as the helping with the plant medicines, but I'm already affirming that there'll probably be some life experience there, because I'm so open to the universe bringing people, places, situations, circumstances into my life, and a lot of times these conversations spark these things, going forward, and what we're doing with universal abundance and everything else. So That's awesome. I love the way that you answered that.
Yeah, it just really, being a participant and then being of service with that particular part of aspect of my life, it just really opened me up to a different way of seeing energies and feeling energies and connecting with energies, and especially being of service to my clients, because like I said, the work that I do is very, very multidimensional. It's just not, I'm just not working in one realm of energy. I'm working and facilitating a space that is safest for them, so that way they can feel the growth and expansion within themselves, and to really allow them to connect with their soul, the purest version of themselves, to think, okay, I get it. This I signed up for. Okay, I get it. This is, out of my hands. I get it. There's nothing more I can do here. So it's like, really coming to a resolution, if you will, a resolution of the self, resolution of the soul, and really understanding that, I can only do what I can do, and that is to be master of my thoughts. And the best way to be master of my thoughts is to be aware and present in this moment, and not just ignore the feeling that I have, but also honor how I feel, honor the thoughts, and honor the space and time and energy.
Absolutely, absolutely. I want to highlight one thing that Hillis has shared, and he shared it when he was just describing the last question that I asked about his vision. And I love for us to know this out there, that we can ask, just how Hillis asked, how he asked the universe, how can I be of service? How can I be of more service? And then the answer came rapidly, through another human being bringing the answer. Now, the answer won't always come that rapidly for us. It can, for sure. He just highlighted that. However, I love knowing that the answer will always come. And so I have so much excitement knowing that I can ask the universe anything. Like everything that I'm doing in my life right now, including this podcast, everything spurred from a question that I asked, as far as how could I see a part of my life expand? How can I be of more service to humanity? How can I see the humanity that I want to live in? How can I live in the world that I find it fascinating that we're here in 2020 and we're connecting. Me and Hillis right now we're just hundreds of miles away. Not too far. He's on the other side of Florida, but he could easily be thousands of miles away. He could be in the other corner of the earth, and we'd be having the same interaction. And so we have the capability right now to connect so easily with each other and help each other, and really ask those questions of what's the humanity, what's the world that would be exciting for me to live in, and then participate and have those answers come, do what we can do with what we have from where we are, and just create this beautiful journey. I'm enjoying being the avatar that is named Noel, and Hillis, I know that you are too, and I hope everybody out there, I want all of you to enjoy that. And you can't help but enjoy it when you realize who you truly are, because especially how Hillis started this, you chose it, you chose the avatar, so we might as well be able to fully experience it and see what it is that we came here to experience. So I love it so much.
Yeah, and a big part of that component is trusting your intuition, which is part of what I teach in my seminars and workshops. Is that that's the first thing. You have, even though I spoke earlier about the formula which you have your thoughts, the emotions, and you have the words, the conversation, but in all of that too, you have to have trust and build trust with the intuition. And being a psychic medium, the trust isn't always readily available, because there's always these moments of doubt, because am I really thinking this? Is this really my thought? And especially working with a client, it's like, okay, I need you to confirm this, because I'm thinking these really crazy thoughts and it has nothing to do with me. And so it really comes back to that really internal space, because this is more than a machine. It's this beautiful energetic field, and the biological computer that holds all these memories and all these nodes and all this information, and it's just how you access it that gives you the strength and the power to move forward in what you wish to create.
Absolutely. I love everything that you're sharing, Hillis. I want to ask you this, because somebody could tune into this conversation 20 years from now very easily, with how the internet's not going anywhere, and this conversation will live well past when our physical incarnation as Hillis and Noel is here. So that excites me so much. You've been doing it the whole time, and I would love to know anything that maybe you've been sharing, you're reminding yourself of, you've been doing it the whole time. So you could easily say, refer back to everything that I've been saying. But anything that wants to come out of you, I want to squeeze whatever juice wants to come out of you that you want to share, just to make sure that people are aware of whatever this is. And you've been doing it the whole time, but anything that wants to flow out of you.
And so, what comes to my mind is that, I have my own podcast, which is called Light Insight. And yesterday I was listening to the newest episode, and I heard a quote from the person who I interviewed, and what she said was, ask yourself how today would be great. And that is a beautiful reminder. The first thing you can do when you get up in the morning is just something different to shift my awareness, to shift my personal practice, and it really sparked something in me. So what I'm saying to everyone now in this moment is to find what sparks you, to find what sparks the love, the joy, the happiness within you. Because, every marker of my life, there was an important change or a life decision. It was because it sparked joy and happiness in me. So once you find that spark, once you find that ignition, it really path to opening up even more doors and this greater exchange of energy.
I love that. I love it. With that example that you just used, the person that was on your podcast, was she saying it, and it could be both, but was she saying as far as how can today be great today, and then she's actually visualizing some things that she'd be excited about, or is she saying how can today be great, releasing it, and then almost living it as an adventure, like, I wonder what synchronicities are going to flow today? Or it could be either, but was she saying it?
More like an adventure.
Okay.
Like you just open and you're in the flow of the universe, just allowing you to think. It's almost like, she's speaking in terms of it as an adventure, but I am adding to as almost you daring the universe to say, I want something great, or you're commanding of the universe to say, I want something great to happen today. I want that miracle. I want that confirmation of what it is that I'm here to do. So it's almost like the daring and confirmation and like taking it to an extra level.
That's fun. You guys will hear some stories from me now about that, because I'm gonna play with that a little bit, because that sounds very fun. And I live my life as an adventure anyway. However, like taking that to that step as far as like show me something like even like more like where it's just like, I like to say that one of my favorite things to say is the universe is so obvious. Like it's like when things are meant for us, like synchronicity, like it's so obvious. Like this can't be a coincidence, even if you're not aware of anything that Hillis and I have talked about until now. You are, since you've listened to this conversation. It's just the things are so obvious. The people, the places, like the good ideas, and so I love that because I'm all for that. I help someone, a friend of mine, who they teach special need, they teach autistic kids, special needs kids, and right now it's really challenging because schools aren't really opening, and so they're trying to figure out how they could do this online curriculum, and not the easiest thing when like you're used to being so hands-on with your students. And I shared with them, I had a meditation this morning, and I shared with them, I sent them a voice note, and because the last few days have been challenging for them as far as just more anxiety than clarity when it comes to, because they've been in like nonstop meetings with the school district and just trying to figure this out. And so I shared with them after meditation, I said, set the intention that you're going to have some clarity today that is going to help you move your vision for what you want to do to help these kids forward, and let's release it, how it's going to happen, when it's going to happen, who it's going to come from, and let's be grateful for it prior to seeing any of it come. And I got a text message right before we started this podcast with so many thank yous that they got the clarity that they needed to move forward today. And so it feels good being able to share this stuff. This stuff works, everyone. This stuff works, and we've been talking about it the whole time. So that's why I asked, like, was it like specific intentions? Because you can do that. Or just releasing and just having just total adventure. You can do that too, which I'm going to start doing even more. So I appreciate that insight. That's going to be fun.
Yeah, I mean, it's always, that eventually to have it is to be open to that. But when you're open to it, just allow for the intention to be set. Because I know there were times when I was first on this path, on this journey, still figuring it out and still trying to understand how does it work, how doesn't it work, and just really just being in that space. And there were times when I would like find $1 here on the street, find $20 there, and other opportunities just opened up. So it's like when you are allowing yourself to be in that fluid space, then of course, the universe is going to yield to you in that space-time reality. But as you move through this space, one of the things that you have to eliminate words such as can't, won't, or will not, because I often use in the seminars that I teach is that, for example, I don't want to go to work today, or I don't want to go to the store, or I don't want to see my friend, or I don't want to do that. But what always ends up happening, you end up doing it anyway. Why? Because the universe doesn't hear the negative connotation. It doesn't hear those can't, won't, and will not. So instead, the universe hears, I do want to go to work, I do want to see my friend, I do want to go to the grocery store, and etc. So it hears that, and so it sets up the energy for you to be in that space-time reality to say, oh, well, that's what they want to do. Okay, well, let's bring it to them. And so then we get all mad and frustrated because we're doing something that we initially don't want to do. But in hindsight, without realizing, without being aware of it, we did it anyway. We created it anyway. And then we don't take responsibility for what we create. We try to put it off on something or play this blame game. And it's like, poof, what just happened?
Absolutely. That's a really great reminder. Okay, so guys, we have 30 seconds left on this Instagram. You guys, an hour already went by, like we've been playing. So you guys can join us on Zoom if you go to either Hillis or I's story. Then we're going to finish up on Zoom. You guys can swipe up and join us there. But share this episode. This will be on the IGTV for 24 hours. Share this. This will impact someone for sure. If it impacted you, share it with them. And if you guys want to join us for the close, join us on Zoom. Appreciate you guys. Awesome. All right.
Okay.
I'm going to share this. This is a good conversation, brother.
Yeah, it really is. That's awesome. And
I'm just going to put this on.
I will share that in a little bit when this is done.
Yes.
I didn't realize that IGTV just only went an hour.
Yeah, that hour went by quick. they give me a countdown when it's like 2 minutes left. I'm like, whoa, that came fast. I think they still hear us on Facebook and other places. But no, this conversation is outstanding. I was going to share something that escaped me, and it'll pop back in my mind based off of what we were just talking about. It'll pop back in. What were we just talking about right before that? Because it'll come right out of my mind.
We were talking about can't, won't, will not, those.
Absolutely. I was gonna be playful and tell the audience right now. Don't think of a big elephant. Don't think of a big elephant. There's nobody on the planet that if you listen to this that did not just think of an elephant just now. I promise. So it's just we don't have the capability of thinking of don'ts or won'ts. So that's great that you put that. And again, pay attention to the stories that we're sharing because you start talking about you don't want to do this, you don't want to have this happen. That's in your energy a lot. For you to be speaking it, like you've been thinking about it a lot. You didn't just like all of a sudden speak that out. Like this is going on in your mind. Like we don't just frivolously say words. they're first bouncing around in our heads. So
yeah, which goes back to the formula, which thoughts are neutral.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the experience that you tie to those words. Whether it doesn't matter what the experience is, it's the energy that fuels that thought, and then it creates that label, whether if the thought is lower vibrating or higher vibrating. And so then it moves into the physical manifestation to to solidify that, which is the words written or spoken equals whatever it is that you wish to create, the action or the inspired action that has to happen for the full bloom of their manifestation. You know, and it doesn't matter how simple it is. I mean, it could be as little as, taking, getting up out of the bed in the morning to driving the car, or flying to go see family, or winning $1 million. I mean, it's all relative.
Absolutely. When it comes to inspired action, I love just focusing on what I can do with what I have from where I am, and not thinking about all the necessary steps that might need to happen in order to create this, whatever it is that I desire. I've learned over the years not to. I don't have to worry about step 50 when I'm on step 1, and we're always in an eternal step 1 because it's always now. So for me, I don't really think about anything beyond, what can I do with what I have from where I am. Okay, just get out of bed and be grateful, meditate, and then I'm just in this continuous step 1 from there, and that makes life, and for any of us, really so simple, because I don't have all this extra noise and chatter going on in my mind. Well, what about this? What about this? I don't have that going on because I'm not on that step. If I was, I'd be doing that now.
Yeah, and I think that's the beauty of what you do. What most people haven't picked up yet is that most people are concerned about how, the steps to do something. Most of what I teach is that, you teach them. I teach you to be focused more so on the what they want and why they want it, and don't worry about the how, because that's where we get caught up, and our energy gets all muddied and weighed down because it doesn't show up the way that we expect it to. And a good example of that is for me. I'm a very particular individual. I'm very picky about what I want. And so there was this time I was like, I need a new medicine bag for my crystals in. I was like, I need a bigger bag to carry my crystals around for my clients, to do this, to do that, and all these things. And so after I made this affirmation, about a week went past, and I was walking to the office, the usual path I walk to every single day in Brooklyn, without fail. There's nothing adventurous. It's all such a boring walk. But on this one particular day, I walked past this fence, and it was a medicine bag that had the word free written on a Post-it note. And I knew it was meant for me. I intuitively and instinctively knew that this medicine bag was meant for me. It was from Ecuador, brand new medicine bag, not used. And I'm like, and so it's those things that when we really put into our frequency, into our field, into our vibration, we really get what we want.
That's awesome. I love. This is why I said it. This is why I have the story. The universe is so obvious. Could it be any more obvious than that? Free, Post-it note. Hey, the only more obvious could have been like, here, Hillis, this is yours. Like, that's exactly. The only way it could have been even more obvious. I love that so much. What do you want the audience to know as far as how to connect with you? Obviously, you're doing work online as well, so people can connect with you from all over the planet. Anything that you want to promote that you have going on right now that you want the audience to know about, or anything at all?
Well, I do have a few things coming up. I am going to be doing a 1-hour workshop on Well Set next week, September 3rd. You can visit my Facebook and IG and wellset.co, I believe, for more information about that. It is free, so take advantage of this free 1-hour workshop for next week, September 3rd. In addition to that, I am, if you guys want to get a hold of me, I am doing all my work virtually because I am located in Southwest Florida, and all my work is done remotely. So people can get a hold of me via email at hillis@hillispugh.com. That's HILLIS@HILLISPUGH.com. They can connect with me there, or connect with me on any social media platform, Facebook, LinkedIn, IG. I'm available to be of assistance and service to anyone for readings, energy work, or just simply to teach and to mentor you on your path.
I love it. I love it. Definitely take Hillis up on that. Any intuitive like nudges or curiosities that we have in this life, everybody out there, if you act on those, like you're gonna have a life experience there that's gonna bring new clarity to you, and it's just a great next step for us on our journey. I've learned to take inspired action on anything that I'm even curious about, like and then I follow someone right away, or like send someone a message to connect, which is how this conversation ended up happening. And I'm just excited to take my next inspired action, because to me that's like the universe saying here with free, on the back. And like anytime something comes in my awareness, I say, oh, this is the next thing that I'm supposed to be doing, so let me do it, and let's see what comes as a result of that. And again, that just makes life adventurous and fun. So I highly recommend you guys connect with Hillis on social media, and if you're inspired to reach out to work with him in any way, shape, or form, going to be a great next step on your journey. And you guys share this episode. If you're watching it now live on the stream, hit the share button. You'll definitely impact someone. And then if you guys are listening to this on iTunes and Spotify when this is out there, leave a review that says, that Hillis human, like, he's awesome. I became aware of this, and this. And that'll help more people find this episode. And appreciate you guys that have been doing that, and just sending so much love to you all out there. Anything else you want to share with the audience before we go, Hillis? Because I appreciate you and the light that you've shared today, and affirming that this is our first co-creation, and of course there'll definitely be more co-creations to come.
Well, just remember who you are, and that's what's most important. The remembrance of your true essence, your soul, and that will always bring you back to peace.
I love the state of being of peace. That's my what do I want? That's my I want to say benchmark, but that's not really the word I'm looking for. That's
mantra.
That's where I like to be, because that's the way I can describe it. I was looking for a specific word, but that's where I feel good. Just a nice, peaceful, calm, chill, and then I'm open to momentum, taking my energy to other places where it's like, wow, I'm having an amazing time. I'm blissful. Like, I'm open to that. I like to, like, I meditate until I'm feeling that nice, peaceful, calm, and that's why I do it personally. And then anything that comes as a result of that, whether it be awesome downloads, from the universe or anything else, that's just like icing on the cake to me, and that happens a lot as well. But the reason that I meditate I like to be in that peaceful, calm energy, but I also like to let momentum go and take me to places where I'm having an amazing, blissful time as well. So I appreciate you, brother. This has been an awesome conversation that I know will be impactful for people, and great to look forward to co-creating more with you here as time goes, for sure. In the moment of now, then, as well.
Yes, exactly. Pleasure as well. Thank you so much, Noel, for this awesome interview, and this just discussion and just sharing this wisdom. Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, you guys, we'll talk to you all soon. Have a beautiful day whenever you hear this, whether it's now or 100 years from now. Sending you guys tons of love, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Awesome. All right, I'm going to stop the stream, and then we'll say bye over here on Zoom. Stream is